On today's show, we celebrate the legacy of Batiko Cruise. Plus, in lifestyle, the importance of sleep, and we'll tell you how you can get enough of it, and the benefits in reinventing old ways of building for Aruba's new infrastructure. 15 on 15 starts right now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yentl Lieuw. January 25th is Batiko Cruise's birthday, a much celebrated holiday here in Aruba. To commemorate the politician who attained an independent status for the island, let's retell his story.
A free Aruba. That was the dream of the island's liberator, Batiko Cruz. Cruz led the battle for status aparte for Aruba from the Netherlands Antilles. In 1971, he founded the People's Electoral Movement, or the MEP Party. The party adopted a social democratic ideology and strove to bring unity among the island's people. In 1973, Batiko made it his goal to achieve more state independence for Aruba, a long process to which he fully dedicated himself. In the process of the realization of our independence, we had our flag and national anthem. We had the referendum, a presentation of a letter to the United Nations. After the public went into action, we had a mission from the kingdom. We had a conference of the Round Table. We had the Commission of Seven, and again, we'll have a roundtable conference. It took many years before Cruz was able to cultivate respect and recognition from the Antilles in Holland. Batiko Cruz was the driving force behind the creation of Aruba's flag and national anthem. And thanks to Cruz, Aruba has its own parliament, council of ministers, and governor. The public of Aruba for many long years was shouting to get recognition of its rights and the rights of self-government. We had to fight, and in 1977, finally there was a breakthrough. Finally there came a break in the development, and we can say that after 1977, Aruba got its recognition. On December 31st, 1985, just a few hours before the new year, when status aparte would finally take effect, Batiko Cruz was in a tragic car accident. He slipped into a coma for nearly 11 months and died on November 26, 1986. But he will always be remembered as a hero by the people of the island he loved so much.
Moving forward, a new project organized by the Audiovisual Institute, also known as AVI, hopes to teach young kids in San Nicolas a thing or two about filmmaking, meanwhile educating them about Aruba's culture. 1 month prior to an Aruban holiday, for instance Himno y Bandera or Deragay, the students in the workshop will help produce a promotional video. Take a look. Francisco Pardo, an award-winning filmmaker, says the goal of the workshop is to encourage young teenagers to be interested in Aruba's culture. Since we are in the digital era, producing and filmmaking could be the perfect way to go about this.
At those workshops, the student will learn, for example, how to work. I will give them the insight of technical aspect of audiovisual, and also graphic design, and they will get a little bit of marketing. So we divide them in groups, and you have, for example, the group that's going to do audiovisual. This group is going to write the script, they're going to do research, they're going to do interviews, and they're going to film too, and they will do the audio.
The purpose of the workshop is to keep the younger generation educated on Aruba's cultural heritage. A motive is needed to get the kids wanting to learn about the island's traditions.
With this project, the teens will have the opportunity to do research and find out more about their own culture. For example, they can even come in contact, for example, when we go interview, for example, Padu, they can have the opportunity to meet Padu and talk with Padu, and so with other people, important people from the culture. For example, you have other musicians and other people that really, try to help to preserve the culture.
The workshops will start February 1st in preparation for Flag and Anthem Day. The 10:30 to 12 p.m. free sessions will take place in School de Arte in San Nicolas. To sign up, go to www.vivacultura.com. We will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Losing sleep can impact your whole day for the following 24 hours. Here are a few tips to ensure you will wake up full of energy every day. Sleep experts say the average person needs an average of 6 to 8 hours of sleep a day in order to wake up ready to take on the day. Here are some tips to help. For one, shut off all electronics at least 1 hour prior to hitting the pillow. Also, make sure the room is as dark as possible. Light can interrupt sleep. If necessary, try taking melatonin. This is a natural hormone in the body that tells you when it's time for bed. If you have a serious disorder, then you need to see a doctor. But also you should take in mind that naps do work. A 20-minute cat nap can make all the difference in the world. But don't sleep for too long or else you could wake up at your deepest stages of sleep, which can make you just as tired as before. If you do take a long nap, just make sure it's more than 90 minutes to prevent from feeling exhausted afterwards. Moving forward, does exercising more make you want to eat more? Well, there is a counterintuitive way that your body responds to a sweat session. Considering that you torch a lot of calories when you totally kill it at a gym session, you'd expect your body to respond with crazy intense hunger pangs. But the opposite seems to be true. Contrary to what many gym goers believe, no evidence shows that working out makes you eat more. If burning lots of calories won't leave you hungrier than usual, then you're less likely to undo your calorie burn after a workout by going on a food bender. What keeps you from craving a post-gym energy fix is thought to be because tough workouts were associated with decreased levels of a hormone that fuels hunger. Higher blood sugar levels are also thought to be decreased after a workout, which can steer you clear from cravings. Now ladies, the next time your man says he's going to grab a few beers with his buddies, don't give him a hard time about it. Grabbing a beer is code for male bonding, and a new study says it is good for their mental health. When guys get together at the bar, they are probably throwing back pints and swearing off football games. But get this, they may also be opening up to their guys. A Scottish study was originally set to examine the social context of drinking in the middle-aged men, because men are more likely to drink heavily and more likely to die from alcohol-related issues. But then researchers came across other findings, such as determining dudes drinking in bars together is good for their mental health. The Scottish study found that men in midlife said shared consumption of alcohol is an integral part of creating and maintaining male friendships. Drinking with friends was constructed and indeed justified as helping men talk to each other, providing social support and improving mood, believe it or not. Well, on that note, cheers to the Scottish study. Let's take a break. Here is what's next. European and North American modern architecture may seem to be revolutionary, in which every country should adopt and copy. But when you live on an island like Aruba, there are certain things we should do differently that works for us. A young, aspiring architect gives us his take on constructing new buildings in Aruba. It's easy to underestimate the value of an old building, like this one. Nowadays, architects and construction workers probably look towards the European and North American architecture as a sample, and they probably don't even think twice about the material people used back in the day to construct buildings. But it's good to keep old methods in mind to maintain monumental value in Aruba.
If you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. And if you don't build houses with stones from calc, then you're not going to do it again, and then you lose that piece of knowledge. While at the same time, those are the houses that are standing 150 years. Those are the houses that are very well ventilated. Those are the houses that nowadays are luxury products. I found out that the tiles that you have in a lot of these Kunuku houses are just as expensive as marmor to buy at this moment. It's something that, because we don't do it anymore, it loses its value.
The techniques builders back in the day used to construct houses can still be relevant today. Materials and methods can be reinvented and re-evaluated for it to make sense today. Aruba's infrastructure doesn't always have to move forward in being modern. Architects needs to take into consideration as to what works on this particular island.
I'm very interested in how the history can become the future, in the sense that a lot of these techniques we don't use anymore, but they're very efficient when it comes to your health. You don't have these filters of aircos that you have to keep changing. It's just natural. You have natural ventilation. You can open the windows. Aruba has a 280 days of wind, of steady wind, which is an exception when it comes to the world. Basically, it's not that many places where you have that, where you can open the windows and the climate is just right, so you can chill out and you don't have to have an airco. But most people do have aircos, and people become sick, and then they turn off the airco for a while, and when they're better, they turn it back on. That's like a very strange cycle. Like, it would be better not to use your airco and just have a house that ventilates very well.
Natural light is an important element that architects should incorporate when designing for buildings in Aruba.
The old houses are oriented on the wind, which means that when you open the window, the wind just goes into the house and it just goes through the rooms. Like here in this building, we have these shutters and we open them every morning, and then we have this natural light. This is the most pleasant thing you can have in a building. You can have them open and then you have natural light. You don't have to use energy. We have a few, but it's nothing compared to other offices. When we have presentations, we can just close them up again, and then we have a dark room. So there's really these flexible things. Also, you have diffused light instead of direct light, which bothers you while you work. I can say this is the most pleasant building I've ever worked in my life. And it's old. Like, people don't make houses like this anymore.
There are several options the architecture team is brainstorming on in order to restore the building, but still stay true to its roots.
Now we have the same choice. We're improving the conditions of the house, and we don't have a roof. So what could we do? We can or leave the roof and make it as simple as it was, or we can try to improve the situation by making another window. But that's more complicated. It's not like you can find one of those things at the coin mine. You have to try to invent it. But you're still basing your ideas on basic principles.
That is our show for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here with a brand new edition of the show starting Monday night at 7:15 p.m. right here on Channel 15 ATV. So we'll see you then.